Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us attorney David Nachman, my law partner. David, welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael.
In today's program, we want to talk about some types of visas which are O and a P, but before that we want to just briefly tell you about what is happening in the Supreme Court on the immigration issues. As you know, that President Obama has promulgated, announced certain memorandums on a DACA and a DAPA that
Or
in the court,
challenged in
challenge in the court,
Texas, yeah,
that
Texas
challenge
court.
in the court, and the court went through, the district judge decided against, and then the appellate court decided against. Finally, the case was referred to Supreme Court of the United States, and which is the highest court in the country, and the decision of the Supreme Court is the law of the land, will be final decision. So now what happens in these kind of cases, when case goes to Supreme Court, it take about a couple of years before they make a final decision. But President Obama did request the Supreme Court to expedite it, because if this happens after Obama has left, it's of no use.
Exactly.
So then the Republicans come in and they challenge, they say no expediting, but they just want to delay it so that he's gone. But
Right.
with this, looks like that Supreme Court is now more inclined to speed up the process, and hopefully in the next 4 or 5 months there may be a judgment coming from the Supreme Court.
Right. Well, what happened was the state of Texas challenged. Actually, they made a motion before the Supreme Court to try to push out the date when they had to respond to the complaint and make their arguments. So what happened was the Supreme Court denied their motion and required them to respond by December 29th. So on December 29th, their response was due, and now we're just waiting for the oral arguments to be held. And the president, as Michael properly pointed out, the president has expedited this. So now it's just a matter of waiting, of course, to hear when that is going to take place. It's anticipated, at least from what we're hearing, that it's probably going to be in the early spring. So hopefully we'll have a determination well before the president leaving office in November. So then this way, at least, the DAPA and DACA programs, which were promulgated in November of 2014 in those memoranda that the president put forth on administrative actions, will congeal, and hopefully enough people will apply. And of course, that's the benefit, of course, is that if enough people apply and enough people take advantage of the program, then it's highly unlikely, even if the Republicans come into office in November, that they would be wanting to take that offline, because that would be we call it promissory estoppel, where there's detrimental reliance on a particular law. Even though there's no detrimental reliance argument against the government, unfortunately, it would be political suicide for the Republicans to pull a benefit like that that's given to so many people away from them. So that's sort of where we are, at least from a political standpoint.
Inshallah, God willing, Supreme Court
absolutely
will decide the case in our favor. And I think thousands of our people, the viewers, are watching the program today and waiting for this to happen, will get the benefit under the DACA. DACA 1 is still there, as you know. DACA 2 and the DAPA, these programs can then continue, and
exactly.
We are already ready to help you once that happens.
Okay, so tell us about O and P visas,
O
Michael.
and the P. See, this is the subject today we are talking. We have not talked much about in the previous programs about in details on O and the P. But these are very important, very good categories, as you will hear today from us. So let's talk about O visas. Now, O visas is for persons who have extraordinary ability in business, in athletics, and also with regard to the motion picture and also television recordings, the people that come on a O1 or O2 visa. And in O visas are in 2 or 3 parts, you can say, O1 and O2. In the entertainment industry, I would say that we do a lot of O1, O2 cases for companies that come for a film production and for TV shootings. Give you an example. Let us say that extraordinary ability, a person who's renowned person who has got awards, Filmfare Awards, IFA Awards or whatever, Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Priyanka Chopra and many of the others, they are clearly O1s, because we got to have one person who is an O1 has to have two separate petitions. One is for the O1, and the rest of the people, actors and musicians and singers and dancers go in the O2. Supporting personnel. So, and but again, don't get confused because we mentioned the name of Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Priyanka Chopra. Even it's little lesser category. There are people we have seen that have good background, they have good some records, may not be equivalent to Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan.
They need distinction or recognition or awards in the field.
So those can qualify, and it's not just the industry that I'm talking about, only basically film companies or recording.
Well, they can be directors, they can be
the directors. We did for directors, we did for producers, we did for choreographers.
Well, you can also do novelists, soap opera stars.
So it's a very good category, but again, not every person qualifies. When somebody, we are looking at O1, we want to see what are the newspaper clippings, write-ups, what awards the person has got, which films in which they worked, or box office hits, the revenues. And there are certain factors to be looked into this, but we do a lot of them. Believe us, I would say 75% of the Bollywood we represent, and we do all the programs. Even for performances, there's a different category. We'll talk about that. So O visa, I will give some examples, and David will give you some examples. David, we did a O1 for a what you call the biryanis. Biryanis are food. Now come on, common food, but no. But this is not just a biryani. This guy was really a specialist, well known in making biryanis. So that's what case we did one for, let us say, what you call a mixologist, which in a way bartender of higher quality, right? And
that's the other side of the O1 is we call it an O1B, and I refer to it. I refer to it often as the artist visa, because we do a tremendous number of O1Bs for individuals who are artists, painters, writers, any of the creative arts. We recently did actually we did one for a DJ. So we had an individual who was an expert in and highly recognized for the roles that he plays in the digital arts. So they could be dancers, they could be, so basically performing artists of any sort qualify for the O1B. The thing is about the O1B, and also I think, Michael, the O1A, is that I refer to it as what's called the smell test. I need to take a look at the resume, I need to take a look at the awards, I need to take a look at the write-ups, and then once I've had an opportunity to take a look at everything, then I can judge whether or not the individual will in fact qualify for that visa classification.
Okay, so it's a very, very, very valuable category, and don't forget that there's something like O1 that can be very helpful in some situations. And again, remember we were talking about ABC soup.
Exactly.
O and P also are in the soup. So we put our mind
further down the chart.
Somebody is an artist, he's now talking about the family, job, H1, say, well, nothing is happening in my mind. And I say, what's your background? He said, well-known dancer. I say, okay, let's look at the O1. Right? Or well-known, even a chef. I mean, chefs are a very rare thing. But a person, we did a case long time ago. This chef was working in the Prime Minister of India's, like we have Obama's kitchen chefs. These are very upscale, outstanding people that are well renowned in the,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, Michael, you reminded me that we many years ago also did a visa for a hereditary group of Jain chefs who are coming to a special conclave out in Pennsylvania. There were about 15 of them. Many of them were the sous chefs, so they were the support personnel for the main chef, who was internationally renowned. And obviously, many of our viewers probably know that the Jain, the Jain Hindus have a very special dietary restriction. So they had to have this hereditary group of chefs make their food for them.
I forgot to tell you, long time ago, we did a O1 for a yoga guru.
Okay.
The biggest one, I don't want to say the name, I cannot, but when I say a biggest yoga group in India, a yoga guru. So it was a little difficult case because it was the first time. Because these people went the persons that wanted to bring him, he just sent them to apply for a B1 visa.
Right.
So we went to the consulate in New Delhi. So the consul found out this was a paid program, $100, $200 per person and all that. He says, no, this is not a B1 visa. B1 explained to them, this is only a company that is sending them. this is the kind of visa you need, an O visa, for example. He said, how can we get? He says, I cannot issue you. Somebody has to file a petition in
Right.
USA with the immigration service. And once the immigration service approves the petition, then only you can come to us and we'll issue. By the way, we forgot to mention about previously also that any kind of O, not just this one, that example, any kind of O or a P visa, petition has to be filed with the immigration service, all the papers, details, and then immigration approves it, only then the consul can issue.
And then
the
they
visa.
send it to the consul for approval, yeah.
So-
well, actually, Michael, when you mentioned the yoga, that reminds me and takes you also into the next subject that you're going to discuss, which is the P, because we just recently did P3 visas for some yoga specialists.
Yeah.
P3s are for individuals who are engaged in something that is culturally unique. But tell us about the P visa classification in general.
Yeah, so we talk
have
about
P1s, P2s,
because
and
there are
P3s.
some differences between O and a P also.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they are close to P, there's a question whether this is culturally unique or not.
Right.
Because at one point, yoga was like coming from India alone. It was an Indian thing. Now yoga is all over the world. It's
Right.
no longer in a way culturally unique as such. But in O1, we don't have to have a culturally unique thing. In O1, we have to say internationally renowned.
Right.
This guy is internationally renowned all over the
Extraordinary
world.
in the field,
People
yeah.
follow him.
Right.
So that's a thing that we evaluate case by case basis, and then let's talk about the P visas.
Right.
P visa basically is for persons who are coming to US athletics,
Who are competing.
competing to perform
right.
in the events that
Yeah.
artists, entertainment, drama groups, singers. It's a little difference between the athletics and the entertainment groups also, definitely.
Right.
And it can be only a single one person, or it can be a group also.
Exactly.
So basically, what happens is that in a P groups, again, we have two kinds of P petitions. One is a P for principal people. For example, those people are actively on the stage. Anybody on the stage who's dancing or working on that, he is qualifies for P principal. The people that are supporting it, people in the background, let us say, sound engineer, people who are assistant, secretary, people manager, these are not on the stage, so they are ESP, essential service personnel. We file then a petition separately for both of them, right? So we do a lot of them, and all the artists that come in, even people, singers come in, drama people come in, the people that come from different areas in that. So we have a lot of experience and we do a lot of them. The important thing also for you to understand is that same thing like we were talking earlier in H1 program, it has to be started sufficiently in advance.
Absolutely.
Remember, the process is not easy. First of all, you have to give us all the documents, papers, our awards and everything. It takes about, our highly experienced staff takes about 2, 3, 4 weeks just to get all the paperwork and prepare the papers. Then we have got to send the whole thing to unions. Unions have to give a clearance, people call it a no objection certificate. That takes about a couple of weeks or 10 days. After that, we send to immigration and premium processing, pay all the fees to rush. Still, they take 2 weeks. And sometimes they have a question, there's RFE. So the whole process could take at least 2-3 months to time.
That's right.
And some people rush in and they, unfortunately, they all that I want it now, I want January, I want February.
And the USCIS even sent out a memorandum, a practice memo, specifically stating that if you're doing O's and P's, make sure you leave yourself enough lead time, because they don't want to be in a situation where they have to advance these cases at the very last minute. And even if you do advance these cases at the very last minute, remember that you have to get it through the consulate. And when you're at the consulate, especially in today's world, as we are dealing with it, you have the possibility for administrative processing, and administrative processing can slow the case down significantly. So we obviously feel that there are ways, of course, to let the consulate know in advance about group interviews, and we try to do that, but that's not a guarantee that the case is going to go
But
through.
not only that, David, after all this work is done, petition is approved, they have to go to the American consul to get file the application, to do the biometrics, get the visa issued before they can come. So even that takes about a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
So I think we're running out of the time, and thank you very much for
But one
watching
of the things
program.
we quickly want to point out about the O and Ps, and one of the reasons why we want to talk about the O and P as being such an excellent visa classification, is that it has associated with it dual intent. Okay, and that means that you can intend to immigrate to the United States and hold an O&P non-immigrant visa simultaneously. Sorry, Michael. So
Thank you very much, David, and thank all of you for watching the program. Please keep watching us every Saturday and Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Thank you very much and goodbye.
thanks so much.